Today's episode of the Just Keep Swimming podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service offering over 10,000 books and the ability to listen to your favorite podcasts, including the Just Keep Swimming podcast. I personally use Audible all the time and suggest you take a listen to Intentional Living by John C. Maxwell. In this book, Mr. Maxwell shares his story on how he was able to live a noble and purposeful life and gives you tips and tricks so you can do the same. So please start your 30-day free trial now at www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast, all lowercase. Again, that is www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast. And if you have any more questions or concerns for the Just Keep Swimming podcast, you're always welcome to reach out to us on Facebook or at Instagram at justkeepswimming_podcast, or you can email us at jkspodcast702@gmail.com. And with that out the way, let's dive into it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Just Keep Swimming podcast. This is your friend, your boy, your host, Mr. Adrian Jackson, and we back at it again with another great episode for you. And you already know who's with me. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mr. 1-3, dropping hot beats for the city as always, so please make sure you guys check out his latest projects. He always got some new fire for you guys. So today, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last episode for the B1 Pearl March Madness Tournament Series. So if you guys haven't got your raffle ticket yet, please go ahead and check out the flyers that have been posted on the B1 Sports page, B1 Pearl Sports page, and the B1 Pearl page. Sign up for the raffle so you guys can get in and get the opportunity to win $100, as well as, donate to an amazing cause, scholarships. We always need to help out the kids. So for today's episode, I want to talk about do your job. So, over the last few episodes, we talked about the power of teamwork, the power of having the support system, the power of the helping hand. But I think all of this stuff isn't relevant if you don't do your job on the team. And by saying that, I think this right here is a very, very important thing, because one thing that always has been told to me throughout all my sporting, no matter what sport I've been playing, is you're only as strong as the weakest link. And let's think about that. So if you have a chain and, all the links on the chain are put together really, really strong, they're all sealed, they're all welded together the way they're supposed to be. But let's say you have one link with a crack in it, and that one link has a crack in it. You can't really tell, you can only see it a little bit. There's a crack, but the crack is there. So if you try to put pressure on that chain and try to pull in two opposite directions, the chain will break in that cracked area. You're only as strong as your weakest link. If the link in the chain is weak, then you can't pull anything with this chain. The team is not going to work if you have a weak link in the chain. If you have a weak player in the team is not really going to benefit the way that it should, because it's always going to break, because this weak link is going to be the reason that it breaks. And what is some things to cause you to be the weak link? One thing is, not staying dedicated as you should be. One thing that we always did in football was, we always had to push the last person to finish the finish line. We always want to make sure we can get the weakest link to be as strong as possible. And maybe that could be that one person that's not as in shape as everybody else. That weak link can really hinder us in the fourth quarter, when we really need everybody to be in their top mindsets. I understand we're all tired, but we all can push through. If this one player can't push through, though, the team is going to break, because we can't push through without this player. Definitely if the person has a very important job. If the running back is tired by the fourth quarter and can't run as fast as he was in the first quarter, that's the weak link right there, and you're not going to be able to succeed greatly. So let's determine what makes you the weak link, and if you are the weak link, how can you get stronger? So my first mindset is to learn your job and do your job. So one thing in football, all sports, basketball, football, you have to play your role. If you don't play your role, you're going to mess everything up. Like one of my favorite analogies is what if everybody on the team wants to be a wide receiver, right? And the quarterback says hike, and everybody runs upfield. The O lineman, the wide receivers, the running back, everybody runs upfield, and the quarterback is going to be sit there unprotected, and the defense is going to be able just to go in there and tackle him without an issue, because everybody's playing a role that they want to play, but not the role that they have to play, So the offensive line, their job is to sit back and block and protect the quarterback to make sure the quarterback doesn't get tackled so the play can continue the way it's supposed to. In basketball, the center job is to guard the rim. They're the last line of defense, definitely if somebody tries to drive. So if the center is up there guarding the 3-point line, he's not doing his job, because now the goal is 100% unguarded. That was one thing that was happening when Steph Curry came around. Everybody went from playing their positions to playing the position that they want to play, and a lot of people say that right there is when the game went downhill, because now there's no more true basketball. Everybody just wants to shoot threes and be the star of the game. And it's like, one of my favorite things about being an O lineman or defensive lineman is the line that they say is, you're not the star of the team. You're not going to be in the newspaper. You're not going to be in the highlight reels. You're not going to get the super big interviews or nothing like that, because your role on the team is a role that people don't really admire too much. People don't want to do it, but at the same time, it is so important. You have one of the most important roles on the team, and people may not see that because everybody always sees the celebrity. Watching the Grammys recently was pretty interesting. They were talking about how they made all the movies and stuff, and it was cool to see them announce the actors, but it was really interesting seeing them bring up to the stage the directors, the costume designers, the prop people, the people that make the movie happen, the people that happen behind the scenes, that if they didn't do their job, this movie would have been nowhere as good as it would have been. Like, think about Iron Man. We all know Robert Downey Jr. is an amazing actor. He's a great actor. But what if the CGI in Iron Man was just all blocky and looked like a cartoon? Or, what if the explosions just looked like splashes of water and not the big pyro, explosions that we're used to in today's Hollywood theme, Like, if these people didn't do their job, this movie, yes, it would have had a great actor, yes, you could have a great quarterback, a great point guard, but without everybody else doing their job, nothing would have happened. It would not have been as good as it could have been, or as good as it was, if everybody didn't do their job. What if the director was lazy and was like, okay, that's good enough for me, and just walked off? Like, no, the director's job is to be critical and to say, no, we need to adjust that and adjust this. The coach's job is to be critical and say, you ran the play good, but you need to run it this way, because if you run it this way, this can happen, compared to running that way, that's going to happen. And it's like, we all have to sit back and listen and let the person do their job. I played a lot of defense in football, and defense was for sure a place where they say, do your job. One of my favorite terms they always say is stay home. And it's like, what does that mean, to stay home? Stay home means do not chase down the play. Like, if the play is on the opposite side of the field, let the people on that side of the field do their job and make the tackle. Yes, you're backup. You're going to take you're going to be the last line of defense if all breaks loose, but you need to stay home and stay in your position, because what if it's a trick play? And what if they don't run that way and they actually run back to your way? What if you went off and started chasing the ball? You're not in position to make the tackle, and guess who didn't do their job and blew the play? Yes, that was you. you blew the play because you didn't do your job and stay in position like you were supposed to be, so let's focus on doing our job. And that goes into everything besides sports. Work, let's say payroll didn't do their job and cut your check on time. You would be pissed. You know what I'm saying? You'll be beyond mad. You'd be like, why am I sitting here doing my job when this person isn't doing their job? Like, we always complain about having the boss that doesn't do nothing, but a lot of times the boss job is just to delegate, and it's not to actually get their hands dirty in the nitty gritty. Their job is just to delegate, but we don't understand what their job is. And that right there is a part 2 to it, is understanding what other jobs is as well as your job. If your job is to cover the wide receiver, don't worry about what the linemen are doing, because you need to cover the wide receiver. Do your job. If your job is to do the audits, don't worry about what's going on in the back office inside the boss's meeting. Do your audit. Do your job, do your paperwork, talk to the class, do whatever your job is, do your job. And I think that right there is like so magical, because so many people always want to be supervisors. So many people, get this mindset that if I do more than I'm asked to, I'm gonna be given more, and I'm just making more powerful and make me better than other people. But a lot of times all that does is just burn you out. And when you try to bring it up to say, oh, I've been doing all this, they're gonna be like, well, why? Because that's not your job to do all that stuff. You did more work for no reason. If you're on the basketball court and you're running up and down the court, left and right, and you checking the ball in, shooting the threes, doing all this stuff, throwing screens, blocking, and your team still lose, you're gonna be like, man, my team didn't do what they're supposed to do. But then your team come back like, well, you didn't do your job, bro. You was in my space and you was in Johnny's space, and you were supposed to pass the ball right here, but you kept holding it and you kept doing this and that, and you not doing your job is hindering us. So you have to do your job so we can do our job, and if we all do our jobs together, this is what makes the team flow. One of my favorite analogies, and I'm gonna end it with this one, is the human body. The human body is made up of billions of cells, blood vessels, bones, hair follicles, nails, all that stuff. And it's always interesting to think about what happens if something didn't do its job. So the analogy goes, let's say one day you wake up and your leg says, hey, I don't feel like working today, I'm taking a day off. What would happen? Your other leg will have to carry the heavy load twice, and you would not be as efficient as possible. Instead of you walking around, you'll be hopping around, crawling around. What if your ears woke up one morning and said, I'm not doing my job today, I'm not going to listen today, I'm just going to, just be deaf. You have a whole day of not hearing anything, And yes, there's people out in the world that have those conditions, and I understand that, but at the end of the day, they understand that, my body failed on one job, but my other people understood that this is the job we have to do now, So it's like, let's make sure that we do our job, let's trust others to do their job. And if you can trust others and you can do what you're supposed to do on your end, I promise you'll make the team go so much better, Like for me, Mr. 1-3, we have a little split up. Right now, my job is to create this message. I'm gonna send it to him. His job is going to be add a beat to it, make it sound cleaner, and send it back to me. And then my job is going to be to upload it to make sure it's ready for next week. And then we go from there. We do our jobs though. If we do your job, everything will make it so much easier. Don't worry about what others are doing. Make sure you do what you can do. As long as you do what you can do and stop worrying about others, you guys will succeed so far in life, and so many worries will go away, because a lot of worries are worries that you're holding on to that you don't need to hold on to at all. If you're worried about somebody else doing their job, then we may need to step back and replace that person in that position. Make sure we find somebody that can do that job. That's why you have second string, third string. If someone in the first string is not doing their job, the coach will pull them out and say, you're not doing your job. Johnny, go in there and do his job. And that's how second string takes first string spots all the time, because first string get big-headed and assume that, oh, I can't be replaced. I can do what I want to out here. And at the end of the day, the coach is like, no, that's not the job I asked you to do. I asked you to do this and you're not doing it, so I'm gonna put somebody in the game that would do that. And that right there is like, speaks volume to say, it doesn't matter how good of you person you are, how good you are personally. If you don't do your job to help the team doesn't need you, and you can be replaced in a heartbeat. So Yes, I know plenty of coaches that rather have a team that listens and do what they're supposed to do than a team full of individuals that's just out there making up stuff. It's like a lot of stuff is a team sport. We're not doing playground. If it was playground, understandable, but still on the playground, you have a job to do. So you want to make sure you do your job. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was today's message. I hope that resonated with you guys today. Anybody have any comments they want to share, any questions, concerns, you already know how to reach out to us. So please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you guys. Again, this will be the last message for the B1 Pearl March Madness Tournament raffle. So please go check out their page. Follow them if you haven't followed them by now. Sign up for the raffle. It's only $10 per seat. You can get as many seats as you want to, up to 36 or 64 seats or something like that, and then proceeds will be donated to the B1 Pearl Scholarship Foundation. So please make sure to do that so you can give to a great cause. You give and it's going to come back to you always. So with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, a marvelous afternoon, a splendid evening, and remember to just keep swimming.